Hey everyone, I'm Mike Lydon and I'm an urban planner. I started a consulting company called Street Plans more than 10 years ago. And the goal is to help implement the positive change that I wanted to see happening around the world, working directly with cities. So we partner with city governments, community activists, foundations, and companies to help streets and public spaces become safer, more accessible, and exciting places to be. I grew up in rural Maine, so cities were not a very common thing where I grew up, but I was always really interested in how they functioned, the experience of moving around a city, the different infrastructure, the transportation, the liveliness. So throughout school, I started to focus on academic projects. I got into SimCity when I was 10 or 12 years old. I went to college and focused one of my big thesis projects, which is like your end of your 4 years, you write this big, paper usually, and I focused that on a city planning issue that intersected with Native American rights and the legalization of gambling in Maine at that time. From there, I went on to pursue a graduate degree in city planning so I could study the field comprehensively and be well set up to get a job in the field. Today, cities are facing many challenges, but I think the largest among them is climate change, and specifically to that, sea level rise, which is resulting from warming temperatures. And this threatens the viability of cities globally, including New York City, where I live. However, if I had to choose one place that is going to be most negatively impacted by sea level rise and climate change the soonest, that would be a city I've lived in, which is the city of Miami, and of course, cities around it. It's going to be very challenging in thinking through what to do with Miami. It's not a place where you can just easily build walls to keep the water out because the soil is made out of limestone, so it's very, very porous. The water actually comes up through the ground, so it's really difficult as sea level rise to actually control the flow of water. Thinking about the core requirements to move a city like Miami, for one, a city is primarily about people, but it's also about resources, and it's about infrastructures and connections between people and between places. So thinking through what to consider in your projects, you want to think about multiple benefits that can be conferred in a single location. Obviously, higher land. Coming from South Florida, you want higher land that's safer from sea level rise. Access to regional food production. This is going to be increasingly important as supply chains and the growth of food become more challenged across the globe. We may not be shipping food across the country and the globe like we do today. Being able to plug into existing transportation systems, so that's airports and rail lines and streets and roads, rivers, ways to move people and goods is always critical for the success of a city, particularly a large city if you're going to pick it up and move it. And then finally, think about places where you're not going to displace an existing population. Our entire country was founded upon the displacement of people who had already lived in North America. And so we don't want to repeat those mistakes. And so that's a challenge, finding empty land that meets all these requirements. It's a good place to pick up and move an entire city of millions of people is no easy task because a lot of the good sites are taken. Cities have been founded historically in places that provide a lot of these amenities. So with that, good luck with your projects, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with.